So it makes no sense. So 100% have to disagree. Coach Greg, and are you like me? Do you love going to the buffet? Well, I recently watched a video by Food Theory in which they titled it, How to Beat the Buffet. So I thought, well, that's great. I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to learn how to go to buffet without overeating. But it was in fact the exact opposite. How to beat the buffet in their minds is how to eat as many calories as humanly possible. When I go to the buffet, I want to feel full and satisfied, but not gain a ton of weight. So I'm going to watch this video and essentially I'm going to explain to you to do exactly the opposite of what they're saying so that you can go to the buffet and eat the food too without feeling bad, without feeling guilty, without leaving with a friggin' stomachache that you have to burn off for the next week on the treadmill. So can you in fact go to a buffet without gaining weight? Absolutely. So watch this video if your goal is to go to the buffet, eat as much as you want, and not worry about the unwanted weight that you're going to gain from eating too much.
So today, consider this video your definitive guide to beating the house. If beating the house is you eating a lot at an all-you-can-eat restaurant.
So you can in fact go to a buffet, eat a lot of food, and not gain weight. When I'm on vacation, I go to buffets for a week. Breakfast, lunch, and supper, 3 meals a day, all you can eat. And when I get home, I haven't gained any weight, yet I've eaten as much as I want every single meal. You can too if you follow the strategies that I'm going to implement, which is essentially the opposite of what Food Theory suggests to do. But if your goal is to get as fat as humanly possible, well, listen to what he's saying and do the opposite of what I tell you to do.
Today it is us versus them versus us.
So in my mind, beating the buffet means you are able to go to the buffet, eat an enjoyable meal, walk out full, but not have to gain any weight. In their mind, it's eating as many calories as humanly possible, overeating, getting to the point of being sick, and walking out feeling like you got your money's worth. But for me, getting my money's worth is able to eat a meal that tastes good without gaining extra weight.
Bring up that highly scientific buffet infographic.
And do you not just hear the chimes of the cookbook? As soon as I hear that, I'm like, buy my freaking cookbook! Well, the beauty of the cookbook is even if you eat too many calories at the buffet, you can still go back and eat the recipes from the cookbook that are lower in calories that will help you to feel full and get you into a calorie deficit.
Bread and pasta can be made in massive quantities. They keep well for long periods of time, and it doesn't matter if the restaurant has to throw some of it away at the end of the day.
So step one is don't fill up on carbohydrates. Breads, pastas, and rice, not only are those foods very cheap, they're inexpensive, they're also high in calories, and when you eat them, it's going to trigger you to want to eat more. How many of you gone to a buffet, had bread, put butter on it? Before you know it, you're 1,000 calories in, and you haven't even eaten anything fancy yet. So my advice, avoid most of the carb-rich foods and stick to the proteins, fruits, and vegetables that are lower in calories.
Rice, 38 cents per pound. The lowest price of wholesale beef, $2.80 per pound in 2019.
So obviously protein costs more, and foods like meats and so on, they're higher in protein and more expensive. So if you want to get your money's worth and feel more satiated, as meats tend to be higher in proteins and fats, going to help you keep full, add to that vegetables and fruits that are low in calories, low calorie dense foods. That combination together, you will be able to eat a ton, walk out full without over consuming too many calories.
The foods that make you feel most satisfied are carbohydrates. So, by giving you lots of bread right up front, end this meal. You have had enough.
So I'm gonna have to disagree. He says the most filling foods are those that are high in carbohydrates. How many of you agree with that? If you eat a lot of carbs, you're gonna be more full. How many of you actually believe this? Cereal, very high in carbs. Pasta, crackers, cookies, chips, lots of carbs. How many of you actually think that if you eat a lot of carb-rich foods, you're going to be more full than if you eat a lot of foods that are high in fiber, high in protein? So it makes no sense. So 100% have to disagree. So if you go to the buffet with the thought that I'll just eat mostly carbs, you're not going to lose weight. Think of it. You're going to go to the buffet and eat bread, pasta, cereals? You think that's going to help you lose weight? Of course not. You want to have high fiber, high protein foods. Foods that are low in calories that take up a lot of space. Not carbs. So I don't know where they're coming up with this stuff, but I 100% disagree.
Rule number 1, skip the bread. We are beelining it to the carving station, my friend.
If you go to the buffet with the mindset of, I'm going to eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, you're not going to get fat. You can eat as much as you want of this. It's going to be a hard job for you to eat a calorie surplus. They are so low in calories and take up a lot of space, it makes it difficult to gain weight. After all, how many people that are morbidly obese you think overeat on salads, bananas, apples, cauliflower, carrots, peas, and so on? Probably a zero. People who are overweight are not overweight from eating a lot of fruit and vegetables. They're overweight from eating a lot of carbs and fats, especially in combination. Highly palatable, delicious foods. High calorie dense foods. Ice cream, peanuts. Candy, chips, cookies. That is what's making us overweight, not fruits and vegetables. So next time you're at the buffet, load up on the fruits and vegetables. And trust me, they're not cheap. When's the last time you went and bought a carton of strawberries or blueberries at the grocery store? It costs more than steak. Are you kidding me? Load up on fruits and vegetables. Get in your protein from meats if you're not vegan. And you're going to get more than your money's worth at the buffet. And you're not going to be in a surplus, and you might even lose weight.
Excuse me, sir, what meats do you have on the buffet today? I'll take all of them. Then they give you a little portion, and then you're like, please, sir, I'd like some more.
You want to see something funny? You want to see me at the buffet when I go to the carving station with the meat. They cut you a little slice. Yeah, more. Cut another slice. More. I have no shame. I don't care. I'll sit there all day till they give me what you want, and then I'll go back 2-3 times for more. I am not embarrassed and I'm not shy to go to the carving station and say, yep, I'm still hungry. So do what you need to do. Don't let them scare you away or intimidate you into saying you can't eat anymore. It's your right. You paid for it. You can eat as much as you want. After all, it is an all-you-can-eat buffet.
The number 1 protein item that you're likely to find in your buffet line is chicken, because quite frankly, it's the cheapest.
And the beauty of chicken is it's lower in fat. If you go to a buffet and you don't want to overconsume calories, I highly suggest you have chicken over steak. Steak, much higher in calories, way more fat. So if you're given the choice between eating a lot of chicken or a lot of steak, go with the chicken if you are in fact trying to lose weight. And what about fish? Well, frankly, you can't go wrong. All the white fish is going to be very low in calories, low in fat, high protein. And what about the fatty fish? Well, it's healthy fat. So if you're eating salmon, trout, these kind of fishes, there's a lot of fat and a lot of protein, but the fat in it is fat that you need. So although fatty fish is going to be higher in calories than white fish, I do suggest you eat both.
Plates and bowls at all-you-can-eat buffets tend to be smaller than the plates that you get at other restaurants.
So if you're on a diet, this is actually good advice. Use smaller plates and smaller bowls. It's going to trick you into thinking you're eating more.
Simply giving subjects a larger bowl for their ice cream led to them serving themselves and consuming 31% more ice cream.
There is psychology into how much we're eating. When you see an empty plate, it feels like you're not eating as much. So if you have a massive plate with a little bit of food, you're going to be more hungry than if you have a smaller plate that's overflowing with food. So buffets, they tend to use smaller plates than use at home, and people tend to, on average, eat less. So if you're actually on a diet, you can actually eat less by simply using smaller plates and bowls. It's tricking you into thinking you're eating more calories than you actually are.
Think about all those self-serve frozen yogurt places that are all the rage these days. The bowl sizes that they give out are enormous. They're designed to trick me into thinking that I have to fill them up.
Yeah, and that bowl, it has weight to it. So when they weigh it to see how much you owe, the freaking bowl itself is adding to the fee.
The buffet actually wants to trick me into doing the exact opposite. They give you smaller plates, they give you smaller bowls, even smaller silverware sometimes.
And how many of you like the smaller spoon when eating ice cream? When I'm eating ice cream, I need the small spoon. And when I'm eating cereal, I need the cereal spoon. Big spoon. Let me show you. So hopefully you can see this. This is for ice cream and this is for cereal. You can't swap. It won't work like this. You can't have ice cream with this big spoon. It doesn't taste as good. And you can't eat cereal with this little teensy-weensy spoon. It's just facts, people. It's science.
To perform well, you need to prepare well. Like the professional bikers of the world train for the Tour de France, so shall you prepare your body for the Tour de Fried Chicken at the Golden Corral.
So yeah, please give me more food. I'm a professional bodybuilder and a bike racer. I'm burning this stuff off. I need more. They're not going to say anything other than call you Rambo.
This whole episode is about optimizing our experience, making the restaurant hurt because you ate your meal there.
Yeah, you're better off making the restaurant hurt than you hurt because you have a friggin' sore stomach. You might think you're having fun, but trust me, when you're full, you're full. You don't want to eat the point past being full. If you eat till you're stuffed, you're going to be uncomfortable and you're not going to be happy about it. Eating food, it kind of goes by the law of diminished returns, which we learn in economics. The more you get of something, the less you need it. When you first arrive, you're hungry, starving maybe, and the first bite, it's the best bite. Unlike what Jesse James said, he hasn't discovered this yet. And as you eat, you get more full, and you don't want more. So every piece of pizza that you eat, you want it less than the last one. The first one, you're starving. You really want it. By the 10th piece, you're probably full, so you don't even want it. By the 15th slice, you might actually pay to not have to eat it. The first slice, oh, I'll buy $5, no problem. The 10th slice, if it's free, I guess I'll eat one more. By the 20th slice, give me $1,000 and I don't want it. So when you eat till you're stuffed, it's actually uncomfortable and you'd probably pay to not have to suffer anymore. So when eating at a buffet, learn to stop when you're full, not stuffed.
Leptin is released when your body has all the energy that it needs and is like, yeah, we're pretty good down here. Tell the mouth to shut up.
So ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and leptin, the I'm not hungry anymore hormone, I'm satisfied. When you go to a buffet, you actually want the opposite. Because if you're overly hungry, you're going to overconsume on calories. So the best way to do it is to have less ghrelin punch in your face saying eat more. So when I go to a buffet, I want to be less hungry.
Going into a buffet will be like you want your ghrelin to be really high and you want your leptin to be really low.
If you want to overeat and indulge and get fat, then so be it. Then you want all the ghrelin in the world. To do that, I'm not saying you should, but there's something called MK677 or perhaps GHRP6. These are things that's going to make you hungrier than last time. If you're a competitive speed eater, you're in a tournament, they don't drug test, and then that might be something you want. Please just ask your doctor. I don't suggest you use it. But if you're like me, you don't want to use these things because when you go to the buffet, you don't want to have to eat your face off. You want to go in, eat to your full, and be satisfied.
There are actually a few other things that you can do to induce ghrelin production. And it wasn't sugary sodas that spiked ghrelin production the most. It was actually unflavored carbonated water.
So he's saying unflavored carbonated water is going to cause the greatest spike in ghrelin? Well, I don't know about that, but I don't want unflavored carbonated water. He says Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Diet Pop's going to elevate it. I don't care, because when I go to the buffet, I'm drinking all the Diet Pop I can. After all, no calories, no problem. So the more glasses of Diet Coke you drink, the less room there is for that other food. So if you want to eat as much as you can, try not to drink much fluid because the fluid's going to take up space in your stomach. Your stomach can only hold so much food. If it's full of water or liquid, it's not going to have as much room for food.
And then, of course, we're trying to make our appetite raging. So we should probably crush ourselves a few hours on the Stairmaster, right? Make ourselves even hungrier. No.
And a lot of you are probably thinking, if I go and do a lot of cardio, it's going to make me hungrier because I'm going to burn off all those calories. It does the exact opposite. Think of it. You're not only benefiting from the calories you burn doing the cardio, it's going to make you less hungry. For example, I did a bike race yesterday. It was about an hour. I couldn't eat for 3 hours after the race. I wasn't hungry at all. Even though I burned 1,000 calories, I wasn't hungry. Net result, doing all this cardio not only helps you burn calories, it actually blunts your appetite by decreasing ghrelin.
Moderate exercise has little effect on ghrelin production in the body, but strangely enough, longer aerobic workouts with higher intensity actually lead to decreases.
So you might be thinking, oh, I don't want to do any cardio because it'll make me hungrier. Does the opposite, especially if it's longer, harder cardio. Like in a bike race for an hour.
Strategy number 2, lay around like a slug before you go to the all-you-can-eat buffet.
So apparently, if you want to eat the most of the buffet, sit around on your ass like a couch potato, chugging carbonated water.
Maybe I should rename this as the general guide to getting diabetes.
Yeah, and side benefit, you get diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and an early death. Great, fantastic.
Stick to the plan of low-carb eating, because again, those are the foods that are gonna fill you up the fastest. Leave those carbs for the end of the meal where they belong.
And I'm gonna have to 100% disagree again. If you eat a lot of carbs, you're not gonna get a bunch of leptin saying you're full. It actually is a trigger food for most people. Start eating a bunch of carbs, you're not going to stop. So I don't know where they're getting this research that's saying that if you eat a bunch of carbs, you're gonna be full and stop eating. That is not the world that I come from. So you remember when I said you can't just listen to studies? You can't just listen to studies, because if the study's saying that carbs make you full and you lose weight, why are there so many carbophobes? Why are people being successful on keto diets? Why can't people just eat cereal, chips, bread, and enjoy candies? They can't, because it's not friggin' true. Do not eat a shit ton of carbs. Carbs is not the answer to keeping yourself full and in a low-calorie diet. Low-calorie dense foods is the way. Foods that are filling keeps your stomach full but are low in calories, like fruits and vegetables, foods that are high in fiber.
People who are distracted while they eat, they all tend to consume more.
And so to keep that in mind, if you don't want to eat more calories than last time, try focusing on what you're eating. Don't be distracted. Don't just watch YouTube videos or Coach Greg screaming at you. Actually, look at the food, eat it, and enjoy it. You'll end up eating less calories. So rather than just looking around, doing your thing, being distracted, focus on the task at hand, which is to enjoy a delicious buffet meal.
You now know all the secrets to take on the world of buffets. Go forth and use those powers wisely.
So depending if your goal is to beat the buffet based on his standards, which is to eat as much as possible, or to beat the buffet based on my standards, to eat the less calories and be satisfied at the end of the buffet, you now have your answer. Go and try it out. Let me know in the comment section if this makes sense to you. Are you a buffet fanatic? What do? Let us know. We want to read it. I'll be sure to check it out.
That's just a theory. A food theory.
Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please watch one of those boobs. Don't forget you can buy the freaking cookbooks, plural, in case you overconsume calories at buffets. You can always come home, eat lower calorie delicious meals that keep you full, prevent you from eating in a calorie surplus, and end up losing weight. And until next time, I'm out.